everybody, it's me Charlotte. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are having a fantastic day so far today. Today's video, we are going to be doing a yarn review of the Yarnspirations Bernat alize, I don't know how to pronounce it, blanket easy yarn. It requires no crochet hook and no knitting needles. So I'm going to test it out. I've had a little time to play with it. If you saw my videos, I think it was a couple days ago, I did a yarn haul from Joann's. This is where I picked that up from. I was always intrigued because I've seen it on the internet for quite some time. I thought I would try it myself. So if you're interested to know my opinion or how my experience went, stay tuned. But real quick, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so now. Don't forget to click that bell icon. You will be notified when I upload new videos. And there are links in the description below. Check those out if you want to. Okay, my opinion on the Bernat alize, I don't really know how to pronounce that word, blanket easy yarn. This is my experience. First off, my first impression was it's really expensive for what you get. In this ball here, this ball was $8.99. I did have a coupon, but it was only a 20% off coupon. 20% off $8.99 is a little over $1 off. So it's still kind of expensive. You only get 18 yards of yarn. Can you see that? Let's bring it in a little bit. You only get 18 yards of yarn for $8.99. It is a 7, so it's very bulky. They do have a gauge here, which I think is kind of cute. 5 loops equals 4 inches because the loops, oh, we'll talk about this in a minute. The loops here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops equals 4 inches, which is kind of nice because it makes gauging things easy. It is 100% polyester and it is machine washable and dryable. So those are nice. They do have patterns on their labels. This one, they do give you directions on this side on how to actually use the yarn because let's face it, it's something new. We're not used to this stuff. So they do give you directions on how to use it, how to bind off, so you can read those. There's also videos online, of course, where you can see how to use it. All right, where do I begin? First off, when I started working with this, I tried to do a center pull, okay? So I was like, oh, I'll just pull from the center of the ball. As you can see now, it's kind of just a big tangled mess, but that's okay. I pulled from the center and I pulled too hard and that's when this happened. The loops kind of just started breaking. And then they got really addicting to break. Like I was like, ooh, I want to break more. It's kind of like bubble wrap, you know? You pop one of those little bubble wrap things, then you just gotta keep popping them. So that's another thing to keep in mind. They break really easy. I'm going to show you an example. Here is a small example that I made. They weren't broken like this when I made it. Small example, and I started thinking to myself, now if they break really easy, like I just showed you, I mean it doesn't take much to break these little loops because they're only held together with a little thread. I don't know if you can see. It's just a little thread that's kind of like sewn together and they break, they snap real easy. And not only if it's not just for a baby blanket, but say you made it for yourself and you're sleeping with it. You're taking a nap on a Sunday afternoon and you fall asleep on the couch and your toe, toes, they can slide through these holes pretty easily. And then it gets snagged and then you try to rip it off and it rips. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is you put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort into making something nice for yourself or for a family member or for a friend, and it gets snagged on something or it rips really easy. I don't even know how this would do in the washing machine just because of how easy it really breaks. That's my only qualm with the quality, is just how thin this little thread is that kind of holds these loops together and how easy they are to just snap. Again, very addictive to do this. Okay, I don't mind doing it because I've already decided that I don't really like the whole loop aspect of this yarn, so I'm just going to pull all the loops out like I've been doing and just make like one regular blanket yarn, and then I'll knit something small or crochet something small for my little dog to lay on because he loves laying on yarn. but I will show you guys how to use it. It wasn't that difficult. It's awkward, but it's not difficult. I'll say that. I do want to mention that I recommend doing it on a table because I think the bigger your project is, as you can see, these loops kind of just like to, they have a mind of their own sometimes. But if you, I think it's going to be a little difficult to do on the couch or in our favorite chair or even in bed. So you might want to start out at a table before, till you get the hang of it. And you might be able to be better at it than I am, but I wasn't very successful at sitting at the couch doing this. So I've moved to the table. And all you do, it tells you, like I said, there are instructions on the back of the label. You just count out how many loops you want your foundation to be. Think of it as a cast on or a foundation chain. So you count out how many you want, and you always work from the back. The right side of the work is always facing you. You never have to turn it. You just kind of work like this. So I'm going to count out a few here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what you do is you take number 6. So here's my 5th loop right here. Here's my number 6 loop. You take that number 6 loop and you kind of put it behind the number 5 loop, and you just push that number 6 through the number 5 from behind. And you just keep doing that all the way back. So here's like the number 7th loop will go through number 4 from the back to the front. And you find the next loop on your chain or your cast on row or your foundation chain, and you take the next loop available on your working yarn and you just push it from the back to the front through that foundation loop. And you just keep going all the way to the end, doing that same thing over and over. And when you reach the end of your chain here, so now your working yarn is coming from over here, you want to take the time to pull up all your loops that you just pushed through and make sure they're all in there nice. And just take your time and pull it through like that. And again, sometimes they have a little mind of their own and they want to twist, but that's okay. It's okay. And then you just start again, and you're always putting that working yarn behind the last row you made. So now I'm going to take this. This is the next loop that's available on the working end, and I'm just going to go from back to front with the loop that I've already had part of my work. Again, here's the next loop available on my working end. Here is my work. Here is the next loop available. It goes from back to front. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again until you've reached your end. And then to bind off, binding off is a whole new thing. To bind off, you have your working yarn over here, and you actually go to the beginning of your project. So my working yarn is over here. I'm going to go to the beginning of my project, and then I'm just going to start binding off. So you take your first loop. I think this is, yeah, you take your first loop and your second loop. You put your second loop through your first loop. Okay, now you have your second loop on here, and you take your third loop and you put it through the second loop. And you do that all the way across until you reach the end. Then you have one loop left, and then you take your working yarn and you get to break those like so. And then you can break the yarn itself. And then you just take this last loop here and you just string this tail through that, bring it up, tie it, and then you can secure it back here, weave it in. You can even weave it in with your fingers. It's pretty easy, but that's how you do it. And again, it's very light. It doesn't feel like it's very durable. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's very soft though. Like, I really do love the softness of it, but it just doesn't feel very durable, and it's because of these little threads right here that hold the loop together. And again, so addicting. Literally, I think I'm gonna have more fun breaking these loops than I was like working with these loops. That's my opinion on it. Have you guys ever used this stuff before? Do you plan on buying it? Do you plan on using it? I'm really curious. I can honestly say I will never buy it again. It's a good idea. It's actually a great idea, especially for those that don't know how to knit or crochet. This gives them the opportunity to work with yarn and create something, which is always a fabulous thing. Yeah, it's not for me. And I can't even honestly say people with, you know, some disabilities, whether it be like rheumatoid arthritis or just arthritis in general, they may have a hard time themselves putting these loops through, depending on how severe their arthritis is. People with disabilities, I'll leave that up to you guys to make that your own judgment. If you think that you have a family member or a friend that struggles in some way, if you think this would be good for them or if it would be easy for them to work with, then I would encourage you to go try it. For me personally, it's a pass. I'm not gonna purchase it again. Again, I'm just going to break all these loops and have some blanket yarn to make my dog something soft and wonderful. But yeah, that is my view of it. That's my opinion of this stuff. I think it's super expensive for what you get, and the durability is just not there for me. That's my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. Don't forget to click the bell icon. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. And there are links in the description below. So that was my video for today. Until next time, you guys, I hope you all have a super wonderful, fabulous day. Happy knitting, happy crocheting. Bye.